Welcome to This Week in Anderson High School Sports here in ESP Media, powered by Sidearm Sports. I'm Jason Griefer, and flying solo today is Anderson AD Chris Newton. Newt, good to be back with you. Where's Zach?
You know what? I think he's still in the doldrums about a tie watching the Bengals. I got to tell you, I don't know. He
Can he suit up and play offensive line?
oh my goodness! Oh wow.
Ugh.
Yeah. No, we Zach will be back tomorrow at it, hooting and hollering. We don't have any games tonight, so the boys worked like 37 consecutive days, so we actually thought we'd give him a little time off.
Let's just say he's resting up for the stretch run. I guess we'll spin it that way.
That's right, because we're getting ready to start it.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's get right into it. Let's start off with your football team. And, riding high off the shutout win over West Claremont, and then things get flipped on its head. You play a perennially very, very strong Winton Woods team, and they took it to you, 48-13. And so you take that one there. Now you got Milford coming up as you get ready for the playoffs. We've talked as the season's gone on about your defense. You talked about the disappointment when they gave up 70 to Kings, and then we talked about the shutout last week. So they've kind of been all over the place as the season's gone along, and then Winton Woods gets them for 48 this past week. So you've got, as we said, you've got Milford coming up. How important will this game be for this defense to get going back in the right direction ahead of the playoffs?
Oh, huge. I mean, without a doubt, they need to get some confidence back, a little swagger back in their step. And here's the thing. Sometimes you play really, really bad defense.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes you play really, really good players. And although, our defense, giving up 48 points, that's not acceptable at all. But sometimes you got to tip your hat and say nice job. Those guys on the other side get paid as well, and so
and Winton Woods has some dudes.
Oh yeah,
make no mistake about it.
And one of those was on one of those touchdowns was a kickoff return, and our offense didn't put our defense in great positions sometimes, and quite honestly, it's not like our defense played terrible. Unfortunately, we just gave up some big plays.
Yeah.
And, the quarterback, Wingfield and Evans, the running back, those are great players. Yeah. And, so I personally wasn't, tremendously disappointed with our defense at all. I was disappointed we gave up the big plays. That's going to happen sometimes when you play great players. My hopes is that our effort, when you get down, that's when you're facing the adversity, that's when you need to come together and pull together more. And it just didn't, I was a little disappointed in the fight that we showed in the second half. And so hopefully we get that turned around this week.
And we'll certainly be checking on that ahead of the playoffs as well. Let's move on to the pitch. And we were talking a lot last week. Let's start with the boys about that matchup with Kings and how important that was going to be in terms of the big picture. And you talk about taking a team behind the woodshed. Your team certainly did that with Kings, winning that match 6-0. So now you're staying even with Levelland in the ECC. Walnut Hills has gotten its season going, and they're off to a 2-0 start. So technically you're in a tie for second right now, but again, you'll play Walnut Hills there soon. Let's talk about one of your individuals there, Zach Santarelli, who had a hat trick in the match. He also had an assist in the match, and he's tied for the league lead with 10 goals. When he's finding the net like he is like that, you're not going to have a hat trick every match out. I'm sure he'd love to. Who wouldn't? I know you would. But when he's that consistent like that, how good can this team be?
Yeah, I got to tell you, Thursday night's game versus King was one of the most fun I've ever had watching one of our teams play, any of our teams play. The effort and the hustle and the teamwork that they played with Thursday night. I mean, I would just love to bottle that up and play with that every night with every single one of our teams. I've never seen a team have so much fun and in celebrating with each other. Mm-hmm. Sometimes, it's easy to want to be the goal scorer and easy to want to be the touchdown maker and get the hits and all that stuff. But what I saw was every single kid on our team celebrating with each one, whoever scored a goal. Zach pumped in 3, and Zach had the ability to pump in 3 because you got kids like Sam Hughes who did not score a goal, but is just an unbelievable playmaker and set him up a lot of times. And you got guys like, Owen and Tate Brandon who just hustle their tail ends off, and the defensive stats aren't in there. But they're constantly providing situations and giving our offense situation to score. And Jack and Will Nobles, I mean, those guys hustle everywhere, all over the place. So it was a ton of fun. And when Zach's scoring, we're going to be pretty tough to beat. There's no doubt about it.
And they've been playing very, very well.
Yeah.
Over on the girls' side,
I'll tell you here, Jay, real fast. Yeah. Our goalie too.
Mm-hmm.
I'm telling you, Ryan Sullivan. He's probably, if not the most athletic kid, he's one of the most athletic kids that walked this school. And really that's kind of hard to think, with goalies and that, you think starting out at a younger age, your kids that are really athletic, they're getting out there and they're playing the field and all that stuff. I got to tell you, watching this, Spidey Sully, as we call him, watching him play the goal is unbelievable. And just the saves that he made in that Kings game, which could have turned the whole complexion of the game around, is incredible. But I mean, it is a total team effort, and they're just fun to watch.
And on the girls' side, you have a pretty darn good keeper on that side, I would say, as well, and Ann Taylor, and she's led a defense that still has not given up a goal in the month of September. We talked about, the girls had a pretty big one against Kings as well. You win that one 2-0. Shocker to Anderson fans out there. You had another strong performance from Kate Dorco, who scored again. Yawn. She did it again. The thing I love, though, is seeing on your Twitter feed, you doing some interviews with the girls after some of these matches, and these results come up. And I got to tell you, for as much energy as you pump into this program, and as you should, they look like about as loose and as fun of a group as you could hope to see at the high school level. And, of course, the way they're playing certainly feeds into that. But gosh, I can't. Every time I see these interviews and these pictures of these young ladies, they are just smiling. They are so loose. How much of that is based on the fact that they are playing so well and having clean sheets night after night?
Yeah, you said it so well. I mean, this is a group of girls that I think is playing very confidently and very loose because they put the work in. And when you're prepared for something, the ability to be confident and the ability to be loose is right there. And, we've had 9 consecutive shutouts. And so, that's just not by luck. There's incredible play and they really believe in our coaching staff. Andy Boyd does a great job with them and he lets them play. He gets out there. Andy Boyd puts the work in it, and people don't see this. He puts the work in it from 7 to 9 at night. That's our practice time. They're 7 to 9 at night, and they're working their tail ends off. And people don't see that. That's been going on since we were allowed to get back here at June 1st, and they have put a ton of work in. But I'm sure you've seen the video of Emily Duffy. Emily Duffy, here's a girl that a lot of people didn't take advantage of the quarantine time that we had to become better. Emily Duffy went out and got some weights and she worked her butt off through the months of March and through the months of April and May. And so when June came around, that girl was ready to hit the ground running, and she's being rewarded for that now. And I mean, she hit an absolute missile for the goal, that we interviewed about. You got Maddie Long, it's the same way. That girl, I don't know if she's ever seen a bad day. I mean, she smiles galore. But again, it's the, if you don't put that time and that effort in months ago, these young ladies aren't enjoying the time that they're having right now. So we're super excited for them, and we're doing it with a great mixture of old girls and young girls as well. And that's a ton of fun.
Such a good example for the youngsters as well, knowing what the mentality of the program is for sure. Let's move on. Let's talk about your volleyball team. They've kind of been in a tough stretch right now. they've dropped 5 straight. 4 of those were on the road though, and then last week you went down at home to a very good Bartels road team, and they've been very good all season long. But you look at these results, it's not like they're getting blown out in these matches. A couple of those were 5-set losses, and even in the ones where you lose three sets to none, they're right there, 25-20, 25-22, those types of results. And so they're right on the edge. So from your perspective, are they frustrated right now knowing that they're not getting blown out? They're right there, and yet the end results just have not gone their way?
Yeah, and that is the disappointing thing is, there's, they talk about games, sports are inches, a matter of inch determined by. And you're right. I mean, they're not getting blown out at all. And it's one point here, 1 point there, at Milford, it's a 5-set match, and it's a very difficult ending there. Same thing with Little Miami. We're right there. And this league is a great volleyball league.
Mm-hmm.
And in playing Bartels Road, I mean, they've got some very nice players. So you try to regroup, and then you go play at Lebanon. Holy smokes, Lebanon is loaded. And so they're battling, and that's the difficult thing. And Coach Olson does a nice job. She's got to make sure we keep those girls battling and believing in each other, because your next game you can turn it right around. And and that's the goal, to start a winning streak tomorrow night at Winton Woods, and then keep that going into Kings, and and get hot for the tournament.
And I will certainly see how that works out. It took, as you said, you get Winton Woods tomorrow, played them earlier in the year, and won comfortably in 3 sets. Hopefully that happens again for your program, no doubt, and they can get that winning streak going toward the end of the regular season. Let's move on and talk about tennis. And probably, I would guess, not the result they were hoping for at the ECC Championship. You've been at or near the top of the team standings all year long, and you come out of the ECC's championships as a team finishing 5th. Allie Daly does what she does. She doesn't lose. She's still undefeated. She's 22-0, and she wins first singles. But double teams kind of struggled. What just wasn't their day for whatever reason. So how do they go about just rebounding from that performance, specifically your doubles teams, going forward?
Yeah, well, and that just goes to show how great they played during the year, and how they did, teamwork wise. I think I've said on this before, Brent really, our head coach, Brent Johnson, really juggled a lot of girls in those doubles matches. Mm-hmm. We have, 6 girls that are continuously fighting to be in those double spots, and to win a league title, which is, for a 6-week span over a 1-day span. Heck, I'd much rather take that 6-week title than a 1-day title. Mm-hmm. They ran up against a really good team. I know, I think it was Ava Moran and Kennedy Cold Iron ran up against a really good Milford team, and it didn't work very well. And it all depends on your seeding, who you play first, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I know, Addie Dimling and Kate Rothfuss, they're going to be back. Those girls, they've bounced back all year long. Lisette Morales and Alyssa Infante, they've bounced back from all the difficult matches they've had. And Brent does a great job with keeping their spirits up, and they'll get down on themselves. Addie Dimling and Kate Rothfuss, I know, we're waiting around forever on that day to play, and that's difficult. They're out at the Linder Center out there in the ATP. Mm-hmm. They got out there about 8:00, and I don't think they left from there till probably about 4:00. I mean, it's a long day.
Yeah, it is.
But they'll be about I'm not worried about those kids at all. They'll bounce back and be ready to go.
And still have a lot of things in front of them to accomplish.
Oh, yeah.
That's for sure. So the season's not over. I'm sure it didn't go the way they wanted as a team, but nevertheless, still a lot to play for.
Oh, gosh, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's move on to the links. Let's talk about the boys golf team. They were in the ECC championships last week. Nice third place finish for the team.
Oh,
326. You have 4 of the top 15 scorers there. Pretty darn good turnout for this team, would you say?
oh, heck yeah. And, Loveland just played out of their mind, I believe. And
They've been great all year.
Whew, man,
Yeah.
It's a good squad.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, our kids, Joey Crone, who is, playing our 5. And that's the neat thing. And we've talked about it. Any one of these kids can step up and shoot us, 78, 77, something like that. And that's what's going to take, coming up here is, we got King of the Hill today. And as we come into these sectionals, it's going to take, 3 or 4 of those kids to shoot that 77, 78. The good news is they're capable.
Yep.
Jackson and Coleman Miller, they're capable of shooting that. Jack Kreider, Jake Parrish, Joey Crone, they're all capable of throwing up scores under 80. Now, the thing is to do it all on one day. And when you do that, then we're going to continue to play in this tournament. So, but we have the ability. Now we need to just go out and get it done.
And it's nevertheless a very, very good showing for them.
Oh, it was great. It was a ton of fun, man. Ton of fun.
Absolutely. And finally, let's talk about your girls golf team. The regular season's winding down. You've got Mercy McCauley coming up here to begin the week here. This is a very senior-laden roster, very top-heavy in that regard. So as the regular season winding down, take us through some of these seniors if you want to talk a note about all of them that you have on this roster. And there are a lot of them, and that's never a bad thing when you can talk about a senior-laden group, just kind of the individuals they are and how you've seen them mature over their time at Anderson.
Right. Well, to start off, you got to start with Megan Bryan. She has been she's a very quiet young lady. Okay. But she has been a leader in her own sense since her freshman year, just from her work ethic. She, I've spoken about, Jackson and Coleman Miller, how hard they work in the summertime and travel and stuff. Megan Bryan is just like that. Her mom and dad give so much time and energy to Megan to do something that she loves. And, Megan Bryan, she's going to go play somewhere. She's got opportunities to go play in the future, but she's provided a great leadership. And that transferred over to Melissa Fictus. She's a senior that really worked incredibly hard this summer. And, and she's seeing the results. And the difficult part in golf is you don't see the results all the time. You might have a bad hole, one bad hole in the 8 or in the 17 that messes your score up. Mm-hmm. But from consistency wise, it's been great. Alexandra Vanderhorst, same way. Haley Morrow, same way. Linda Taylor, we've talked about before. She's the one with the patented wave, after the videos. She has worked incredibly hard again. To get a little bit better and a little bit better. And that's what we just talk about around here. Get 1% better every day. And Linda Taylor's a prime example of somebody that has gotten better each and every day. Haley Morrow and Haley Giles, all those young ladies have worked very hard to put themselves in the best position. And we'll see what happens when we take the sectionals. But I'm excited to see what these young ladies do.
A great group of young ladies,
yes.
No doubt. And they've done a lot of very good things during their time at Anderson. Hopefully next week Zach is 1% better, if not more, and he'll be joining us once again as well. Newt, great catching up once again. Look forward to it a week from now.
All right. Much appreciated, Jace. You take care.
Absolutely. That is Anderson AD Chris Newton joining us here for this week in Anderson High School Sports here in ESP Media, powered by Sidearm Sports.